There's been 3 clear demands, and I think that was affirmed from students today in regards to the Amir Locke police shooting.
Yeah.
And the demands I've heard from community have been to fire Officer Mark Hanneman, for interim police chief Amelia Huffman to be terminated or resign, and Mayor Frey resign. Can you share from your standpoint as a leader in the city what you think should be done, and knowing that constituents you represent are asking for these things, if you agree with them, what you're willing to do to bring those things to fruition?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that the demands are any demands that come from the people, that come from the grassroots, I think are valid demands. We did just go through an election where Mayor Frey's position was affirmed, and I would be uncomfortable undoing the will of the voters unless, there was a substantial ethical sort of violations in the way that he created this policy or in the way that he conducted himself. And I haven't quite seen that yet, but I do accept that it is a fair demand for the public to make if that's how they're feeling. As far as the interim chief, we're going to be having a discussion about, the permanent position. And I will say that I have lost confidence in the interim chief. I like to be as...
And why? Why have you lost confidence?
I think that we have continued to see statements come out whenever these issues arise about the victim, about the police and their conduct, that don't match up with what we see in the video, that don't match up with what we see in the evidence. And I think that we need leadership who's going to stand boldly and tell us and tell the public the truth in these moments. And I felt like she fell short of that. And so, I like to be as fair as I possibly can be. I like to give people the benefit of the doubt when I can. And based on what I've seen, that's where I stand so far. The firing of the officer is going to be up to the mayor, and I agree with that demand. We'll see if it happens. I know that the mayor has legal considerations that he has to take into account whenever he calls on that. And I don't envy him having to make those calculations, but I think it's a fair demand, and I think it's one that should be honored.
Absolutely. It's been 7 days. It doesn't feel like there's been much progress. We haven't heard from the interim police chief or Mayor Frey publicly since the press conference where they both walked out. Do you have any indicator of, are they considering these demands? Should we be expecting a decision to come down, or is that still just kind of up in the air at this point?
Mayor Frey did come to the Policy and Government Oversight Committee on Monday. He answered questions from council members there. And so I was appreciative that he, accepted our invitation to come and be, transparent and accountable with the public, and to give the public some answers that I know everybody wants. But, it's one occasion, and probably not as much communication as is needed. But I did appreciate him showing up to that platform to talk. I think that he is taking changes to the policy seriously, but I agree that it's not happening out in the air enough. I don't know the full status, aside from him naming his commitment. I don't know the full status of where this, when this policy change will be done. I know that there are some concerns that I have, even with the moratorium, that still just allow this sliver of wiggle room. And I think that increasingly the evidence is showing that a full ban would be warranted, and that cities that are not executing no-knock warrants aren't less safe because of it. St. Paul's right across the river, and while they don't have an explicit ban, they haven't executed a no-knock warrant since 2016, is the information that I have. I know that there are various states and cities that have also just banned the practice outright. And I think that the evidence is pointing in the direction that we should be doing a ban with no exceptions, because the most extreme circumstances, like a hot pursuit, like a hostage situation, they don't fall under the banner of the no-knock warrant. Let's get rid of this. Let's keep our community safer. And let's not wade into this territory where we have conduct and harm and death coming to our community members.